Today we're going to do a short practice that is all on the ground. So there will be some poses prone on our bellies, supine on our backs, and some on all fours. If you need cushion under your knees, I've got a blanket here to go under my knees for the all fours poses so that it doesn't bother my knees. And then you'll want something like a block, even if you just have like a thick pillow or a thick blanket that you can fold up or roll up so you can get a little height, that would be helpful. But a block or something similar would be really great for this practice. We'll start on all fours. So if you'll come to hands and knees, you want to get your wrists just a little bit forward of your shoulders when you're on hands and knees, because you can start to take your shoulders and move them a little bit toward your ears, and this gets some length in your side body. We'll start with cat-cow. So on your inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone, lift your head. This is cow. As you exhale, you'll go the opposite way. Make like an angry cat back, tuck your tailbone, relax your head so that you look back at your thighs. That's cat. So with your own breath, I even like to close my eyes for this. Inhale and exhale. Start to get a little movement in your spine. See if you can line up your movement and your breath so that your inhale takes up the whole movement toward cow, and your exhale takes up the whole movement toward cat. Do 2 more breaths like this. Then go to a neutral spine. So a neutral spine is where you maybe have just a little bit of a curve in your low back, but you're not going to be dropping your rib cage down. So you want to keep that lifted up. Hold here and then tone your low belly. So right below your belly button is really where you want to make the lift happen. Keep this and stretch your right leg back behind you. And as you reach it back, push your leg straight, point your toes, and try to get your hip even with your torso as best you can here. Hold there and lift your left arm forward. And find some balance in this pose. We call these bird dogs. Slowly lower that down and switch sides. You can take your leg out first. Make sure your knee is really straight, your toes are pointed, belly's lifted, and then right arm goes forward. And in here, if you're like me, you've got to work really hard to keep your standing elbow from hyperextending, which is like that. Lower this down, and now lift both at the same time. Right leg, left arm. Hold. Push your right leg really straight. Then lower, switch sides. Lower. One more time. Switch sides. Right leg, left arm. Gaze down to the ground so the back of your neck remains long. And lower. Switch sides. Slowly lower as you exhale. And now keep your arms really level here. take your right leg, and I'll turn so you can sort of see this in a different way. We're going to do what we call fire hydrants, where you lift your right leg out to the side, and I'll mirror you so it'll look opposite, but it'll kind of look like yours. I'm going to lift your right leg out to the side, so straight out to the side, as if you were a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. And typically, this sort of starts happening. You get an elbow bend, but try to keep both your elbows really straight and even, and then lift your leg so that you're really having to work your core. This left hip will want to pop out to the side. Try and pull it in. Keep everything really straight. Hold. Then release that and switch sides. Bring your left leg out to the side, fire hydrant. Keep everything steady. Hold. You want to maybe start to get a little shaking happening in your abdomen, your hips. Slowly lower. Go to the right side again. This time, if you want a little more action, you can straighten your leg. Still, tuck that left hip in. Keep your arms straight. Bring that back in. Lift your left leg out to the side. If you want to straighten your leg, go for it. Try to keep that lift though. Bring it back in. Right side again. Either keep your leg bent or straighten it, and either way, this time, tap a foot or your knee and lift back up. Tap, lift. Keep those arms level. Tap, lift. Tap, lift. And now everybody straighten your right leg and place your right foot down on the ground. Yay. Walk your hands forward. Lift your armpits and spider crawl your hands forward a little more, and then release your forehead in the direction of the ground. Just have to get a little inner thigh stretch on the right side here. You can stay here, or you can take your right arm, thread it under your left arm. And you might be able to put the side of your head down, but you might not. It just depends on how flexible your hip is over there, because your inner thigh will maybe stretch a little more. The end of your next exhale, come back through center, lift up, and sweep your arms high. You're going to take your left hand down, put your right hand on your hip, and then reach through the outer edge of your right foot. Now take your right hand behind your head, turn your elbow up toward the ceiling, then keep that with your torso, but reach your elbow in the direction of the crown of your head. You can stay right here supporting your head, or stretch your arms straight as long as that doesn't bother your shoulder. This one you want to feel in your right side body somewhere, maybe in the front of your right hip too. Inhale, come up. Here, you can take your block, or you can simply slide your hand down your shin. You can also put your block down so that you don't have to put any weight onto your leg with your hand. And then the same idea, lean over, put your left hand now behind your head, turn toward the ceiling like you're opening your elbow. Keep the twist in your spine and stretch like you're going to put your bicep right by your face. Keep that, or straighten. Only if you can straighten your elbow without any pain in your shoulder, and if you can make your elbow all the way straight. Inhale, come up. Release, come to all fours. Bring your right leg back in. Now take your left leg out to the side, fire hydrant. Keep your arms really sturdy. Stay like this or straighten your leg. Remember, we're doing taps. So you can tap down, lift back up, either with your knee bent or straight. Tap down, lift up, tap, lift. lift. Now, everybody, stretch your left leg out. Place your foot to the ground and walk your arms forward. Lift your armpits and crawl your fingers a little more so you're getting lots of length in your spine. Then relax your head. And it can touch the ground or not. But you're working your arms a little bit here, so maybe your arms will get tired. And that's okay. Take a full breath right here. Then lift up. Bring your hands back in, but thread your left arm under your right. So just like to twist and drop your left shoulder and the left side of your head to the ground or toward the ground. And then come back through center. Come up to standing on your knees, like a half kneel. Stretch your arms up. And touch your right hand down to the ground. Bring your left hand over your hip to start with so you can really reach through your left leg. Make that strong. Your right thigh should be vertical. Then bring your left hand behind your head. Rotate toward the ceiling. Keep the twist and reach your elbow so you're trying to stretch this whole side longer. Reach. Stay like this or straighten your elbow. Breathe into the left side of your body here. Inhale, come up. Again, you can slide your left hand down the side of your leg lightly, or place a block down, wherever you can reach. So it can be on any height, right? You could even touch the ground out there if you can reach it. Put your right hand behind your head, twist toward the ceiling. Twist from your rib cage, those low ribs. Stay here, or stretch your right elbow overhead. Stay here or straighten your elbow. This is gate pose, Parigasana. Inhale, come up. Exhale, touch the ground. Release. All right, now we're going to lie onto our backs. So if you have something under your knees, you can move it. Come onto your back. We're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, which means supine bound angle. So your feet go together and your knees come apart. This way, like a little butterfly stretch. Bring your hands behind your head. So very gently, press your feet into one another, not too much. And crunch your head and chest up. Lift your feet up off the ground. Hold. You're trying to lift your shoulder blades. Slowly lower. Now lift everything. Hold. Slowly lower. Lift everything again. Lower. This time as you lift, try to bring your knees in and touch your elbows. As close as you can, knees to elbows. Hold. Push your knees and your elbows together. Slowly release back down. This time, try to touch your knees to the middle of your arms. Yeah. If you're still going for elbows, go to elbows, but push everything together. Release. Good. Knees to armpits, or either of the things that we did before. Inhale. Exhale, go. Squeeze. If you've got your knees on your upper arms or your armpits, straighten your elbows. Put your feet together if you haven't, if they came apart. This is crow pose on your back. Slowly release.
Now bring your knees together. And from here, squeeze your feet and your legs all the way in toward one another and stretch your arms out side to side. Lift your legs. So you don't have to be 90-90, your knees can bend some here. You're going to take your knees and reach them now for your right elbow. They don't actually have to go all the way there because you want to keep this opposite arm on the ground. So once you twist it as far as you can control, hold it. Inhale, and as you exhale, turn your guts to the left so that your guts are turning in the opposite direction of your legs. Squeeze your legs together, especially that bottom leg. Squeeze it up. Come back to center. Now take your knees toward your left elbow. And you just see how far they go. It might be different side to side. Once your right shoulder starts to lift up, you've gone too far. So find that place where you can hold it. Then inhale. Exhale, turn your guts to the right, opposite of your legs. Breathe. Come back through center. Do the same thing again, or straighten your legs. Inhale. As you exhale, your feet are going to your right hand. So you're actually going to have to turn your feet. See a little swing? They're heading toward your right hand. Turn your guts to the left. You can also do this with knees bent, just like you did before. Come back through center. Switch sides. Swing your right hip forward so that your feet turn away from you. And try to get them to go up toward your hand. Then turn your guts to the right. Breathe. Come back through center. One more time each side. Bent knees or straight. Exhale to turn. Feet toward your hand or your elbow on the right side. Turn your guts the opposite way. Come back through center. Take your legs the opposite direction. Turn your guts to the right, opposite of your legs. Come back through center. Hug both knees into your chest. Stay on your back. Close your eyes for a moment as you hug your legs in. And feel free to rock side to side just a little bit if you like. At the end of your next exhale, roll to one side and press yourself up. Now we're going to come onto your belly, so you can roll onto your belly in any sort of way. We're going to do a pose called Swastikasana, which is a shoulder stretch for the front of your shoulder. So take your right arm, and you'll stretch it out to the side. Now, you don't want it to go straight sideways from your shoulder, because this just encourages you to drop the front of your shoulder down. And what we want to avoid is this action of just trying to get the front of our shoulder to the ground. Because then what that looks like if you take it up is this, which is not really the best shoulder position in the world. We want to go for this, right? Like this open chest. So you're actually going to take your right hand forward a little bit, not like way forward, just a little bit so that it angles forward. Walk your fingers out. I'm keeping my arm lifted for now, and I'm going to start to roll away from my hand. So I'm rolling away from you too. There you go. And you just roll as far as you can until your shoulder starts stretching and it stops you. This top leg, you can do whatever helps you out. You can keep it sideways, you can put it on the ground. It's okay for your forearm to go down once you've really stretched out. And your head can go to the ground, or you can put your block under it, like this. Hold that and breathe into the right side of your chest so that you really get open in front of your shoulder. Take one more full breath in and out. Slowly come out of the pose and roll to your second side. As you start to roll, reach your left arm out to the side and a little bit forward. Then spider crawl your fingers out as you roll so that you truly put the stretch up in the front of your chest and shoulder. Your head can go to your block, the ground, the blanket, whatever you've got. Use that. Breathe into the left side of your chest this time. Take one more full breath in and out. And slowly come back onto your belly. For this next piece, if you end up not being able to interlace your hands behind your back, this is where we're headed. If your shoulders immediately drop down and you can't lift them, or if you just can't clasp, feel free to grab a towel or a strap or anything where you can hold on to it with your hands separated a little bit. Otherwise, put the tops of your legs down. Your hands, your fists will be on your low back, and lift your elbows, lift the fronts of your shoulders. So you start to create this open space right where we just worked in your chest. Your head's going to start down. And the idea is you could either stay like this with your arms or lift your fists toward the ceiling. So you really want to try and get them to go upward as best you can. Push your pubic bone into the ground. Really, it's like the front of your pelvis is what you're trying to push. And you're going to curl up. So you're actually going to lift your chest. And as you lift your chest, your hands will start to point more toward your feet. But make the chest lift do that. You're not just pulling your arms down by your legs, because then you get no chest lift. So curl up. Get as much lift as you can. See if you can even lift your low ribs away from the ground. Then breathe. With your next exhale, lower back down. Release your arms by your sides. Take a full breath in and out. Then bring your hands back behind you again. Take your forehead down. Squeeze your elbows toward the ceiling. Stay there or lift your hands. Roll up. Curl, curl, curl. Get as high as you can. Then push your knees straight and lift your legs with pointed toes. Push your legs straight for real. Pull your feet toward one another now. Slowly lower down. Maybe turn your head the other way. At the end of your next exhale, come back up. We'll do one more like this. Hands interlace, lift your shoulders, lift your fists, curl up with your chest, lift your feet, and squeeze your legs toward one another. Keep all of that action. Push your knees really straight. Then release your arms and reach them forward. See if you can keep the lift in your chest. Now keep all that strength in your back. Place your hands under your shoulders and squeeze your elbows back. Roll to the tops of your feet. Press the back of your head and your shoulders back for cobra. Lift your chest forward and up. With your next exhale, lower, and then press to all fours. Good. From all fours, we'll take your right arm and thread it under your left. This is thread the needle. So this time your legs are together. Thread your right arm under your left. Then take your left arm to the ground in front of you. You can even hold the top of your mat. I've turned sideways, but you won't have. And you can turn like you're trying to roll your left elbow toward the ceiling and roll more toward the back of your head. Get a twist. At the end of your next exhale, come out of the pose. Switch sides. Take your left arm under your right. Thread. Then bring your right arm forward and lift your elbow toward the ceiling because that's going to help you twist. Breathe into your side ribs, even though it's tight there. And as you exhale, see if you can sink more into a twist. The end of your next exhale, come out of the pose. Good. Let's go onto your back. If you've got your block or a rolled up blanket or something like that, have it nearby. But you're not going to use it yet. Lie onto your back. And I'm going to turn this way so you can see what my legs are doing. When you go onto your back, you want your feet to be about shoulder distance apart. And you'll take arms side to side and both knees over to the right. So they're not together and stacked. They're separated and going this way. You may have to kind of pull this left one back and in if it bothers your knee, so it's not as far, and then reach down toward the ground. Or you can stretch this puppy out. Reach your left arm back overhead. Grab your left wrist with your right hand and pull. If you want, you can stack your right foot on your outer left thigh and get even more pull. So you would pull with your heel forward. Release that, come back through center. We'll turn so you can see it from a different direction. So now we'll go legs to the left. Legs to the left. This time your right arm's going to reach back. Pull. You can stay like this and reach your right knee away from you, or you can stack left heel onto outer right thigh. Breathe. Release. Good. Now take your right ankle and cross it over your left thigh so that you're in a figure 4. Your arms will go side to side. I like palms up for this. And then lift your hips up and move them to the right. Let your legs fall to the left so the sole of your right foot goes down to the ground. I'm going to hold on to it. Or you can hold your shin a little bit if you want, but foot's better. You might stay like this, or you can reach this right leg forward, and that's going to give you a little more opening through your hip. And then maybe turn your head to the right. The end of your next exhale, release. Come back through center. Even your hips out and switch sides. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Arms side to side. Scoot your hips to the left. Lower your legs to the right. But keep this left knee pointed up and your left foot on the ground. You can hold your foot with your right hand. Reach your left knee forward. And turn your head to the left. The end of your next exhale, come back through center. Even out your hips. And then take your block or blanket roll. Lift your hips up and place the block or blanket under your sacrum, which is below the small of your back. So you have the curve that's the small of your back, and you have your tailbone. And it's this bony plateau. I call it the upper butt in between. So you want to feel like you can settle onto that. Separate your shoulder blades. And then separate your feet and drop your knees in toward one another if that feels okay. If you really want more of a back bend here, you can always go higher on your block. I would actually stack 2 blocks instead of going on the highest, but you could do whatever feels comfortable to your body, right? And then you're going to lie in a back bend here. I recommend not straightening your legs out with the block on your sacrum. If you want to go straight-legged, I get it, that's great, but move the block down more toward your tailbone so that then it lifts at the level of your hips. And that's fine, but keep active legs if you're going to do that. But you got to move the block down. Otherwise, keep it on your sacrum. Breathe here, so supported bridge. And very gently begin to rock your head side to side. You might hold your head turn on one side. Just get a little neck stretch there. And then go to the other side. So you're keeping your head on the ground the whole time. You're not lifting and turning. That way you get a nice, even neck stretch. If you're doing neck stretches, head turns, even yourself out. And then bring your head back to center. Settle your pelvis really heavily onto the block or your blanket roll. Or even if you just have your back on the ground and you don't want to be up in the back bend, settle your pelvis into the ground and stay here. Settle the back of your head. The end of your next exhale, your knees are together, separate them. Lift your hips and remove your prop. Lower your hips all the way down, let them really settle in. And hug your knees into your chest. You can stay here, or if it would feel really good to do a version of plow pose, which is where you take your feet over your head and support your back. Don't do full plow pose. So I'm on the space between my shoulder blades. I'm not putting this up into my neck. So I'm just getting more like a rounding in my spine and then a length along the backs of my legs. You push your thighs toward the ceiling. Breathe. You can also still be knees to chest. You can rock that side to side if your knees are to your chest. If you're in plow, roll down nice and slowly. And everybody stretch your legs up. You can hold behind your legs and draw them in. And place your feet down on the ground. Get your spine settled and stretch your heels out to the corners of your mat for Shavasana. Let your legs go, and then either keep your hands on your belly or let them release out to the side. Close your eyes and enjoy your Shavasana. Feel free to stay here as long as you like. The video will end, so you can decide how long to rest, but give yourself a rest.